Reading from the Japa Reform Notebook by His Holiness Satsarup Das Goswami Maharaj. But even after so much Krishna consciousness and chanting, if you don't understand Aham Brahmasmi, I am not this body, and act with detachment, Vairagya Vidya, then your chanting is offensive. Not that you are like an ordinary materially attached person chanting Hare Krishna. We encourage everyone to chant, even the drunkard. Chant Hare Krishna under any condition. But initiation means new birth and rapid progress, as long as you avoid these offenses. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. The mind is always going this way and that, but we have to chant and bring the mind back under the control of the higher self. If you don't at least struggle to control the mind, your chanting will be a very lackadaisical thing. You see people who smoke a cigarette and drink coffee and read a newspaper and do five other things at the same time. So chanting is not like that. Worry beats something to do while you are busy. Chanting is samadhi. It is meditation. It is complete service in itself when you chant 16 rounds. Throughout the day, we may sing and chant while doing different things. But when we chant our rounds, we have to be most attentive. If not, then again it is aparadh, an offense. Therefore, Krishna consciousness is mantra yoga. You have to chant and hear.
Hare Krishna. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, Jatatohyapi kaunteya purushasya vipaschitaha indriyani pramathini haranti prasabam manah. He says that the senses are so strong and impetuous that they carry away the mind of even a very learned transcendentalist like a jnani. Like a boat which is unanchored to the shore is swept away by a powerful a powerful wind. So there, Baladev Vidyabhushan, in the commentary, he writes there that the senses suppress the intelligence of a jnani and they overpower him. He says, now somebody may wonder, how can the senses overpower the intelligence? The intelligence is actually the driver. Then how can the driver be overpowered by subordinates like the mind and the senses? Actually, although intelligence is the driver, somebody sitting by the side of the driver of the car can distract him by showing some posters or showing something else and divert him from looking at the road. Similarly, Prabhupada says the intelligence is the next door neighbor to the mind, and sometimes the impure mind can also misdirect the intelligence and misguide him, leading the intelligence to become kubuddhi. Similarly, as he says here, that even after one becomes a transcendentalist, one is unable to surpass the mundane activities of the senses for one reason, because they don't have any proper engagement for the senses. On the other hand, the devotees of the Lord have two big advantages. One advantage is the senses have ample of engagement. There are varieties of services. One can do gardening for Krishna, one can distribute Krishna's books, one can bow down before the deities, one can dress the deities, decorate the deities, make jewelry for the deities, make dresses for the deities, cook for the deities, put up festivals for the deities and do Harnam Sankirtan on behalf of the temple and deities. So the devotees can absorb themselves in varieties of activities for the senses from morning to night, and all these activities are all yajna, they are all divya, they are all amritam, because they are done in relation to Krishna. And anything done in relation to Krishna on the order of Krishna becomes auspicious. Like you say, Arjuna is fighting a battle, killing hundreds and thousands of warriors, but it is considered most auspicious because there is a touch of Krishna there. On the other hand, Arjuna was planning to go away from the battle in a very non-violent manner that appears like very auspicious, but that is considered inauspicious because it is against Krishna's wish. In this way, you will see devotees who are acting on the order of Krishna can keep themselves completely on a transcendental platform from morning to night. This is one very big advantage. Another advantage for a devotee is these activities eventually lead to higher taste. And the higher taste is not only the beauty of the deities that the devotee appreciates, but also the higher taste coming from Krishna consciousness is also like Prabhupada says in the purport. To begin with, he talks about the beauty of the deities, which is greatly appreciated by the devotee, but eventually the reciprocation from the deities. The reciprocation by Krishna as the devotee makes efforts to progress in spiritual life, which is unavailable for a jnani or a yogi. So even after having achieved these type of very nice facilities in the very simple path of devotional service, if somebody pays deaf ears to these valuable opportunities and adamantly sticks on to chase after the mirage of illusion, then Krishna himself gives a slap to the devotee, such a mischievous devotee. Like sometimes Krishna may offer the body of a deer or an elephant for a devotee to wake up. It's like giving up a wake-up call, shaking and waking the devotee to realize what mistake one has committed. But Krishna is nevertheless very merciful. Even in the body of an elephant or a deer, he gives the remembrance of devotional service and gives them one more opportunity to take to spiritual life seriously. Therefore, one should ask oneself, is devastation required in my life to become a serious devotee? Or I can take the scriptural directions and indications and warnings and instructions seriously in my life and be awake right from the beginning itself, rather than to wait for some devastation to come or some punishments to come in spiritual life. So the material desires are very deep-seated in the consciousness, in the mind of the living entity. So they can only be removed by one who is very sincerely making an effort to chant the holy name properly and hear the lectures and stick to the teachings of the Guru Parampara faithfully. Then otherwise the heart which is not cleansed of material desires makes the path of devotional service painful and burdensome and hackneyed, stereotyped, boring, and making it very arduous. On the other hand, when these material desires are washed away, then the spiritual life becomes a very blissful experience, a very memorable experience, relishable, susukam kartum avyayam, as he says. So it is in our interest that we wash away these material attachments and make a very swift progress without remaining stagnated or stuck, holding on to material desires, which is repeatedly condemned, like Chintamani condemned Billamangal. And Indra, who became a pig and was remaining in the ditch, is condemned. Indra, attached to his seat and unwilling to give up doing so many mischievous activities, is condemned. Pururava, chasing after Urvashi, is condemned. So in this way, the scriptures give attachment to woman or attachment to kingdom, like Dhritarashtra's attachment to kingdom is condemned. So one has to take a look at one's own heart and get rid of these material attachments to swiftly make a forward progress to the back to Godhead. And if that is done, then the 10th offense is avoided. Then one can rise up to Namabhas to chant the holy name in a way that will cleanse our heart. Harinam Prabhu ki